Blessings on blessings, yeah, yeah. Blessings on blessings, yeah. Blessings on blessings, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, he blessed me, I was lost, but now I'm found.
Shalom, Mishpachah. This is Pakad Yahoo coming at you with another message titled The Heart. And in this message, we're going to talk about the different states of the heart from a Hebraic standpoint so that you'll be able to understand the different mindsets behind the heart and what the heart is really represented as, and how the different states of the heart is viewed by the Father and how he responds to them. So if this message has blessed you, be sure to like and subscribe so that others can see the message and be blessed by it as well. Hallelujah, hallelujah, Mishpachah. What it do? What it do? What it do? Let me fix this for y'all real quick. What it do, Mishpachah? All right, pray y'all can see me clearly and hear me just as clear. I guess y'all getting a double dose of me, I guess so. It's amazing, man, to be here with you all as always. The Most High is just for a while now, if y'all been paying attention to, remembering last Shabbat message, worthless beliefs. And if you all was with us in the 5th day study, we was talking about a division. And I guess you all who know me understand the topics in which that I like to talk about. And I'm more so the practical, A plus B squared equals C squared, you know what I'm saying? I'm the one that like to put things, to see it, to test it, to go and verify things so that people can do it literally. Take spiritual matters and so that people can do it literally, so it won't be so abstract. Understanding the Father, understanding, what does holy mean? What does consecrate mean? This is that in the verse when he says consecrate yourselves. What does that actually mean, and how does one actually do that? So I'm the one that likes to think about, how do I deliver that to somebody in Torah that doesn't understand these things, right? So here in this message, I wanted to talk about the heart, right? And the reason I wanted to talk about the heart, because we've and let's see, let me go ahead and do this. So how many of you have, when we think about the heart, it's so many different things that has to do with the heart, right? We got verses like Matthew 5:8, right? And it says, Keith, you ain't got to go there. It's Matthew 5:8, and he says, when we think about the heart, it says, blessed are the pure in heart, right? For they shall see Elohim, right? And then we have, so it's saying like, blessed is the pure in heart, right? Pure, clean, right? For they shall see Elohim. So that means that for, a lot of us, if you would like to see Elohim, put a 7 in the chat if you wish to see the day that you get to actually see Elohim, right? Put a 7 in there if you're looking forward to seeing that great and glorious day, right? But the thing is that how does one heart become pure, right? What does that mean? And then we have, opposing views, or the opposite, or the latter of that is Jeremiah 17:9. It says, what? It says, the heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Who can know it, right? So we got this situation that that the heart could be desperately wicked as well. Who can understand the heart? So, but what's wicked about the heart? And what does that word heart really mean, right? Then we have our famous, Genesis 6:5. It says, and Elohim saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, right? And that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. I didn't know that the heart can think. If your heart can think, raise your hand. I mean, put like a 2 in the room. I don't know. It's 2 bumps on the heart. You know what I'm saying? Well, at least that's the one that they drew up, right? The heart can think. That's something, right? But that's our modern understanding of the heart, right? Let's take a look at one more. I apologize. Let's take a look at Jeremiah 31, right? And it says here, but this shall be the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel. He says, after those days, saith Yah, I will put my law in their inward parts and write it where? In their hearts, and will be their Elohim, and they shall be my people. And they shall teach no more every man his neighbor and every man his brother, saying, know Yah, for they shall all know me, from the least of them until the greatest of them, saith Yah, for I will forgive their iniquity and remember their sins no more. So here it says, I will put my law in their inward parts and write it in their heart. So it says Abba Yah is going to do that, right? So now we gotta look at some things, right? We gotta look at some things. I'll go back to that Genesis 6:5. And let's take a look at what the definition for heart is, right? So the Hebrew word for heart is H3820. The heart, the word is leb, lamet bet, right? And the way that the Strongs have it, the Strongs say it is figuratively, it says the feelings, the will, and even the intellect, right? It says the center of anything, right? And if you was to scroll down, it says where the understanding is. It is also where wisdom is, right? Now, if we was to take a look at the ancient Hebrew lexicon, right? Let's take a look at the top of there. Let's take a look at this breakdown. It says, you see, it says 1255, Lamed Bet again, right? And it says the heart, concrete meaning, that's the concrete meaning, and the abstract meaning means to think. But I thought it was your brain that thinks. I thought it was your brain that does all your thinking, because our heart is here, but our brain is here. But it says the picture graph of the Lamed is a picture of a shepherd's staff representing authority. And it says the bet is a picture of a tent representing what is inside. Combined, these mean authority inside, right? Now look at this word. The consciousness of a man is seen as coming from deep inside the chest, the heart, right? And I like this next statement. It says the thirst as an inside desire for water. Now, we know that Mashiach in The Woman in the Well talks about the thirst, right? And he says, this water that you drink, you shall be thirsty again, right? He says, but the water I give you, you shall never thirst again, right? So as we're looking at this, right, this understanding let me scroll down. Let's find this 38:20 down here, right? Let's find this 38:20. It says in this heart, the noun for it, right? It says the heart represents the mind, understanding, wisdom is located there. So when we're thinking about Torah, the Hebraic understanding or our cultural understanding of the heart is really the function of the mind. All right? It's the function of the mind, right? So now we gotta, but we know that it's a deeper thing, but we also know that we can be deep in our thoughts, right? All right. So that's why when we look and it says in Genesis 6:5, it says, and that every imagination, right? Every imagination of the thoughts of his heart. It's the thoughts of his mind was only evil continually, right? Only evil continually. And that let's take a look at that word for imagination, because that's very important. And it says that Hebrew word is yeser, right? And it says a form or conception, right? Conception, etc., purpose, right? And it says the frame or the framed, and it means imagination. So, and it says the frame, imagination, the mind, and the work. So when you're thinking, depending on how your mind is or what is placed in there, you will frame things a certain kind of way so that the conception, like birth, right, is like the words to come out of your mouth, your thoughts or your actions. After you contemplate on it, you frame and shape it a certain kind of way that the conception, the making of those thoughts is formulated in your actions. You see? If y'all understand that, put an A for that eternity in the room, or new beginnings, right? So based on what's in your mind or what your gates take in, it's going to process and manifest. The more things that you put in your mind, just the same thing as your belly, the more of a certain kind of food you put in your belly, your stomach is going to start to have a desire for this thing, right? And it's going to want you to put more of that thing in there, right? To the point that you're going to start talking about that thing. So when people ask you, what's your favorite food? You're going to think back to your belly, man, what am I thinking about right now? Hamburger, lamb chop. You know what I'm saying? Because that is what's manifested. Your stomach gave a signal to your mind to, hey, I like that thing. Let me get some more of them lamb chops with the bone, please. Thank you. The long bone. In my man JD's words, right? So I hope that we got an understanding of we're going to, in this, hopefully we got an understanding of the heart, right? So, and the heart and what it represents, so that when we move forward, now we can start putting things in its places. Desire falls into that same place or in that same issue, right? Because everything is going to link back, right? So we know that that I'm going to Genesis 3, right? Y'all should already understand that. Sorry for you if you didn't know. I apologize. And the reason I want to go here, because I love building a basis, and I want everybody to see the root of things from the cleanest state, and to see how things manifest, right? So when we look at verse 4, right? Well, let's look at 6. And we don't have to go through the whole thing, right? let's look at what happens, right? And y'all truthful sisters can speak on this, right? Y'all truthful sisters, right? And it says, and when the woman saw that the tree was good for food and that it was pleasant to the eye and a tree to be desired to make one wise, right? She took of it, of the heart thereof, and did eat and gave all unto her husband. You see, in her desire, she delighted, right? It was something to be valued. See, the serpent didn't make her do anything. He just put these things in her mind, right? And what she took from that, all the desires that she had before was short-circuited and corrupted. So that she's instead of having the frame of her mind thinking that eating from the tree is going to bring her to death, all these things that she placed in her mind, unfiltered and unfiltered by Torah, led her to believe now that all these things was framed for good, and that she had a desire and a want for these things. Her imagination was off because of her mind. Her mind was off. And if you don't have a strong mind, it's going to coerce you to make poor decisions, right? That's why we need Torah, right? So let's continue to look. So there's other things, and sometimes when we're dealing with the mind, we have to, that's why we need Torah, right? We need Torah, we need a standard. But I'm already jumping to, you know what I'm saying, jumping too far. What are other, if y'all know, what are other things, what are other things that's mentioned about the heart? Put it in the chat. What are other things that's mentioned that you know that we hear about the heart all the time? What is something that you've heard constantly about the heart? What are characteristics of the heart that you've heard all the time? Okay, we got stony. What else? What else we got? I know y'all some Torah reading folk out here. Go ahead, put it in the chat. What else we have? Ooh, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speak. Woo, that's right. Come on. What else? Exceedingly wicked. That's right. Hard-hearted. That's right. Who can know it? Where your treasures is, so is your heart. Right. Right. But the next one that I'm talking about, oh, right. Y'all can, clean heart. Correct. There we go. Heart troubled. But my coach here, they touched on the next topic. A hard heart. Yes, we need to have a clean heart. It could be a stony heart. It could be a wicked heart. Let's take a look of, because we hear about this all the time. Poor Pharaoh, right? Poor Pharaoh, right? Let's take a look at Exodus 4:21, right? Let's take a look at Exodus 4:21. And let's talk about this, right? Now we know that all of Exodus, we know that all of Exodus talks about poor little Pharaoh, right? And some people feel a little sorry for Pharaoh. And some people feel like maybe he had no chance or no choice, right? Let's take a look at this, right? So Exodus 4:21 through 23, it says, and Yah said unto Moshe, when thou goest to return to Mizraim, Egypt, see that thou do all those wonders before Pharaoh, which I have put in thine hand. But I will harden his heart that he shall not let the people go. And thou shalt say unto Pharaoh, That's a say of Yah, Israel is my son, even my firstborn. I say unto thee, let my son go, that he may serve me. And if thou refuse to let him go, behold, I will slay thy son, even thy firstborn. Right? So let's take a look at it again, right? Thus saith Yah of Israel is my firstborn. I say unto you, let my son go, that he may serve me, right? Let my son go, that he may serve me. Why does he got to let him go? Because right now, his people are in bondage, right? His people are in bondage. When you are in bondage, you are not free to go and do what's right. You're not free to go to serve. You're not free to go out and adventure. You're not free to go and figure things out. Even when you're in bondage, even when you're in prison, you're not even free. You can't even be free to worship what you want to worship. What they say in prison, it says the black men, gotta worship. Look, look, y'all gonna be Muslims, period. I think in some of them, the fair skin and white men, I guess, semi neo Nazis or this is that and the third, and then you just got the Latinos, right, who believe in whatever they believe in. But I know for a fact that that's why you catch a lot of brothers, because if you try to go in there and try to say that you're this, you're out of order. You're in bondage. You're in captivity. You're not free to serve. That's why when our ancestors, right, when they came out of Mitzrayim, when they came out of Egypt, what was on their mind? Put in the chat. Put in the chat, right? put in the chat what is the number one thing that they was complaining about? What is food? Right. Egypt. What was on their mind? What was still in the melons and the leeks, right? Melons and the leeks. Every time that they was complaining, what was their imagination? What did they compare being in the wilderness to? Mitzrayim, right? Andy hit it on it. Every time they just kept talking about Mitzrayim, Egypt. They even got to the point that they hated the manna. Their imagination was all messed up. That's right. All they knew was captivity. And they wanted to go back to captivity. Why? Because their imagination was messed up. They were in bondage, physical bondage, which led them to be in spiritual bondage, which led them to be in mental bondage, right? To the part that you thought that Pharaoh was the only one that had a hard mind. Guess what Israel had? They had a hard heart. They had a hard heart. Let's continue, right? And the reason, and it's crazy and this is a light sidebar. I'm gonna give y'all a light sidebar here. And it says that thus saith Yah of Israel is my son, even my firstborn. And he says, and I say unto thee, let my son go, that he may serve. And if those refuse to let him go, behold, I will slay thy son, even thy firstborn. I'm gonna give y'all a treat. This is off topic. You know what a good parallel to that is? Maybe I'll do a lesson on it. You know, Cain, we say that Cain is the firstborn, right? But in all actuality, who was the firstborn of Adam? Who was the firstborn of Adam? That's right. That's right. The firstborn of Adam, because he said he was in of his likeness, and Abiyah made man in his likeness. But but Abel was actually of his likeness. So that made him to be an actual son of Elohim. Let's take a look at Matthew 18, right, real quick. Matthew 18, 1 through 8, right? This has just a quiet side. It's a treat for y'all. It's a treat for y'all. Mashiach said here, it says, at the same time came the disciples unto Mashiach, saying, who is the greatest in the kingdom, right? And Mashiach called a little child unto him and set him in the midst of them and said, verily, I say unto you, except you be converted and become as little children, ye shall not enter into the kingdom of Elohim, right? Whosoever therefore shall humble himself as this little child, the same is greatest in the kingdom of heaven. And Shamayim. It says, and whoso shall receive one such little child in my name receiveth me. But what? But whoso shall offend one of these little ones which believe in me, it will be better for him that a milestone were hanged about his neck and that he were drowned in the depths of the sea, right? He called, in this Exodus 4:21 in verse 22, he called Yisrael what? His firstborn, but he called him his son. He called him this little one, and he wanted him to be free to do what? Go and serve. Anybody that gets in the way of the children of Israel from serving the Most High, I feel sorry for them. Because we're supposed to come back like children. We're supposed to come back and be looking at the Most High, right? But there are going to be people that's going to be, whose heart is going to be hardened against us because their mind is going to be hardened against us. Their imagination is going to be fixed against us. They're not going to want to believe. Didn't I talk about that last week? Anyway, they're not going to want to believe. And that's fine. These are the things that happen to them as well. Like I said, that's a treat. Enjoy it, chew on it. You know what I'm saying? But let us continue, right? There's been other people, there's been other situations, like Deuteronomy chapter 2, it started verse 30, right? It's been other situations that the heart has been hardened. And sometimes people ask, like, well, why would the Most High harden Pharaoh's heart? Right? Because he wanted to condition Israel. It's a conditioning to me, I believe. The same thing for because it says what? That it pleased the Most High to chastise the Son, right? And the Son, he says, the Son of Man had to leave in order to serve a higher calling. He had to be released from bondage of his flesh to stand on the right hand of the Father, right? Even we had to be conditioned, and we had to go through this strife so that when we are released, we're released to go into the promised land for a higher purpose, right? We know that Israel is supposed to be out here to save the whole world, to bless the whole world. But we have to be able to receive the blessing or to give the blessing. If y'all missed that, y'all gonna get it soon. Because sometimes people think, like, why would he make them harden his heart? Because it's the world. We are the strongest. Now, I'm not talking about physically strong. I'm talking about ruachically strong. Strength isn't physical strength. It's endurance. That's real strength. To be able to take blows, you gotta, in order for you to hold your shield up, you're not swinging your shield, you're holding your shield. You gotta be able to, it takes strength to take a blow rather than to give a blow. And all that Mizraim, that Israel was going through, whether through the wilderness or through the afflictions and the persecutions and Mizraim, made them grow to be stronger, conditioned. And it made them to build up their spiritual faith and to shape their mind to look towards the Most High. We're not going to go to Deuteronomy 32. You already know what I'm talking about. But in Deuteronomy chapter 2:30, let's look at other examples of the hardening of the heart, right? So Deuteronomy chapter 2:30 through 31 says, but Sihon of Heshbon would not let us pass by, for Yah, that Elohim, hardened his spirit and made his heart, mind, obstinate, that he might deliver him into the hands as appeared this day. And Yah said unto me, behold, I have begun to give Sihon and his land before thee, begin to possess, that thou mayest inherit his land. You see, the father, now this is like reparations, right? He's hardening the hearts of the people so that when they come up against us, he's hardening their hearts so they can come up against us, so that they can fail. And then we get our possessions. Do you all see the pattern? Do you see how this works? It's not by our own physical hands at that. I'll be honest, like, man, just obey me. I'm about to give y'all this land. I'm about to give you this land. Right? If I'm not mistaken, that's going to be the land of Reuben and Gad and the half tribe of Manasseh. He said, I'm just going to give it to you. Since I want to give you, you're supposed to get this land. I just want to give you a little more. That's how awesome our Elohim is, right? But that's the hardening of others, right? Let's continue. Let's do Deuteronomy 15, right? Let's do Deuteronomy 15. Let's do 7 through 9, right? Deuteronomy 15. Let's do 7 through 9. There's another hardening of the heart. He says, if there be among you a poor man of one of thy brethren within any of the gates in thy land which Yah, thy Elohim, give thee, thou shalt not harden thy heart, nor shut thine hand from the poor brother. But thou shalt open thy hand wide upon him, and shalt surely lend him sufficient of his need in that which he wanteth. Beware that there be not a thought in thy wicked heart, wicked mind, saying, the 7th year, the year of release, is at hand, and thy eyes be evil against the poor brother, and thou giveth him not, and he cry unto Yah against thee, and it be sin unto you. It's a commandment right here, y'all. Because you can harden your own heart against your brother. You can harden your own heart to think that what you have will make you close your hand. And even what you have, we just read that Abiyah gave you the land of Sihon, the king of Heshbon, right? He gave it to you. He's the one that delivered you out of the land of Mizraim, and he's the one that led you into the land. He's the one that gives you the water in the due season. So how are you going to harden your heart to the poor? Because something is wrong with you. I'm just going to keep it frank. It's because your mind is off. Your framing is off. Because your desire, that seed that's planted in you, has been corrupted. But we're going to talk about corruption a little later, right? So it says, let's take a look at Joshua 11, verse 20. I'm just trying to hammer in some things. It's different examples of the heart, and let's take a look at them. So it says, for it was of Yah to harden their hearts. Whose hearts? Let's go to 19. I apologize. There was not a city that made peace with the children of Israel, save the Hivites, the inhabitants of Gibeon, all other they took in battle. For it was of Yah to harden whose heart? Their hearts, that they should come against Israel in battle, that he, not we, that he might destroy them utterly, and that they might have no favor, but that he might destroy them as Yah commanded Moses. People with hardened hearts, as you can see, falling for the okie doke. They're falling for the trap. And what's the trap? You get destroyed. Didn't it not say, y'all missed the lesson. Didn't it not say that those who have even more will be given, and those who don't have, even what they do have will be taken away from them? If you don't have a pure heart, if you don't have the Most High, and you're not following in his ways, you don't have the commandments, you don't have his blessing, you don't have his favor, you're done for. You're done for. Anybody that's really walking with the Most High, it's no contest. Y'all remember Elisha, right? In the wilderness, and he saw the army coming, and then he was like, "Oh man!" And the Most High confused their minds and had them destroy themselves. That's the Most High right there, y'all. It's the Most High. We gotta make sure our hearts are not hardened. Let's take a look at Proverbs. Let's do something with the servant, right? Let's do Daniel 5, 18 through 21. Daniel 5, 18 through 21. We thought it was only Pharaoh that whose heart was hardened, right? We thought it was. Let's do 18 through 21, right? It says 18, right? Daniel chapter 5, 18. It says, "O thou king, the Most High gave Nebuchadnezzar thy father a kingdom, a majesty, and glory and honor." And he says, "And for the majesty that he gave him, all the people, all people, nations, and languages, tongues, trembled and feared before him. Whom he slew, and whom he kept alive, and whom he set up, and whom he put down." It sounds like something else, right? Didn't the Most High say, whatever sins that you forgive on earth shall be forgiven in the Shamayim? That's the power of the servant right there. Just another little tidbit for y'all. Verse 20 says, "But when his heart was lifted up, and his mind hardened, in pride he was disposed from his kingly throne, and they took his glory from him." So the hardening leads to pride, right? That hardening. Let's click on that word for harden right there in 20, Kiefer. Let's take a look at that, right? To become mighty, to become obstinate, right? To make mighty, right? To be firm. His mind became firm. Why? Because he wanted to believe what he wanted to believe, and he had a course in mind, and he decided to take it. Let's take a look at that pride there. To be proud. I guess it's simple. To be boiling with pride. Other ancient Hebrew breakdown says, to depart. To boil. Because when a person is prideful, they believe in themselves. They put themselves over others. So because of his pride in himself, his own heart and belief, he was disposed of from his kingly throne. And it says, and and they took his glory from him, and he was driven from the sons of men. And guess what happened? And his heart was made like the beast. Who made it that way? Most High did. And his dwelling was with the wild asses. They fed him with grass like oxen, and his body was wet with the dew of the Shamayim, till he knew that the Most High Elohim ruled in the kingdom of men, and that he appointeth over it whomsoever he will. So even the great King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon had to be chastised because he was a servant of the Most High too. Everything that he had, he knew it. Daniel already told him. So I'll be out to establish you. That's why he appointed Daniel in the position that he was. But as soon as he took his mind off the Most High, as soon as the pride kicked in, that's when those evil spirits, those evil ruachs get on you. Boast your pride. You let somebody drive, you're going to crash. They're going to lead you to destruction and death when you put your own desire in there. And the funny thing about it is it's not even really your desire. It's just the desire of the evil one. Right? So there's other aspects of the heart, right? There's other aspects, right? Let's take a look at Deuteronomy 29, verse 18, Kiefer. There's aspects of the heart that's called corruptions. Your heart or your mind can be corrupted. Deuteronomy 29, 18 through 19 says, lest there should be among you a man or woman or family or tribe whose heart turneth away this day from Yah or Elohim, our Elohim, to go and serve the Elohims of this nation, lest there should be among you a root that beareth gall or wormwood, and it come to pass when he heareth the word of this curse, that he bless himself in his heart and in his mind, saying, I shall have peace, though I walk in the imagination of my heart or my mind, to add drunkenness to thirst. So this goes on with the worthless belief. You got to be able to peep people who are moving along with their own feelings and their own imagination in their own mind. Yeah, I thought that lesson was over with, huh? Let's take a look at Psalms 10. Let's take a look at Psalms 10, right? 3 through 4. We must be careful because what happened with Balaam, right? Yisrael, nobody else can really curse Yisrael. What happens is that Yisrael curses themselves. So 3 through 4 says, for the wicked boasters, let's start from 2. It says, the wicked in his pride doth persecute the poor. Let them be taken in the devices that they have imagined. Let them, it says, let them be taken in the devices that they have imagined. For the wicked boasteth of his heart's desire, and blesseth the covetous whom Yah abhorreth. All right. So it says, as it continues, it says, the wicked through the pride of his countenance will not seek after Yah. It's not in all, it says he will not seek after Yah. It says Elohim is not in all his thoughts. So this wicked person is no longer, because in his pride, his head is hardened. He's looking at what he wants. The Most High is not registering. He's not thinking about that person at all. And not thinking about Abiyah. He's only thinking about himself. And that's why he says, that's why the heart is wicked. Who knows it? Abiyah knows it. But it could be corrupted. Just like the serpent put these things in front of Eve. And even, I ain't gonna fake, Adam did the same thing too. He put his wife before the Most High. Even though he was supposed to cleave. So it's a toss up there, but he put his wife before the Most High instead of standing up for truth and what's right. Instead of slapping that thing down. But that's the thing here, right? So in verse 5 it says, his ways are always grievous. Thy judgment are far above, out of his sight. As for all his enemies, he puffeth at them. He has said in his heart, his mind again, I shall not be moved, for I shall never be in adversary. His mouth is full of cursing and deceit and fraud. Under his tongue is mischief, and that word, vanity. That is what a corrupted mind do. Of a mind that does not value, that has an understanding of right, that has an understanding of doing good, and doesn't value it at all because it's corrupted. The ways of other things have taken it away from them, right? So let's take a look at, let's do a small little recap here, right? Though we know we have an understanding of the hardened heart, we have an understanding of a corrupted heart, right? And we understand that both these things has to do with the mind, our heart's desire, right? And if we are in this state, we got to figure out how to get out of this state. We have to figure out how to get out of this state, right? Pharaoh didn't have Abiyah. He didn't have Abiyah, so he didn't make it. You see, Pharaoh didn't have him. Pharaoh didn't make it. Nebuchadnezzar lost it, so he lost it. When we corrupt our desires and we put things in our mind, we cause ourselves to slip up, right? But there's other things that's talking about. Let's take a look. How do we, what is this word for conscience, right? So it says, so that word in 4 continents. Let's take a look at that. So we have our continents, right? In continents, it says the nose of a nostril, the face occasionally of a person. And the continents is basically showing your mood. It's showing the continents is like your facial expression, right? So it shows like your anger, you're angry, or when you're happy, smile, angry, frown, brows. What is another word that's similar to that? And that's conscience. Let's take a look at Titus 1:15, right? Let's take a look at Titus 1:15. So it says, unto the pure all things are pure, but unto them that are defiled and unbelieving is nothing pure, but even their mind and conscience is defiled. And we know the good old Hebrews 9. It says, Hebrews 9:9 says, so let's take a look. I'm gonna go there too with you. So it says, Hebrews 9 says, let's start at 8. It says, in the Ruach HaKodesh is signifying that the way into the holiest of all was not yet made manifest, while as the first tabernacle was yet standing, which was a figure for the time then present, in which were offered both gifts and sacrifices that could not make him that did the services perfect pertaining to conscience. You see, a person wasn't right because their mind wasn't right. So even though the person that is doing the works don't save you. It's like people that go to these teachings and they get an amazing lesson. They get all these precepts. They talk about all these things, and they can go and run to somebody else and tell them all these things, and they still don't even understand Torah. They still don't understand Torah. But they'll run and go take a lesson that somebody else just gave them that's talking about pertaining to a thing, and they still don't understand that thing. Because their conscience isn't right. They didn't receive it in their mind. They didn't receive it because they didn't value it. So they're missing stuff, right? So it says that, let's take a look at Hebrews 9 now. Let's skip down to 13 and 14, right? And 13 and 14 says, for if the blood of bulls and goats and the ashes of heifer sprinkle the unclean sanctifieth to purify of the flesh, how much more shall the blood of Mashiach, who through the eternal spirit offered himself without spot to Elohim, purge your consciousness from dead works to serve the living Elohim. There was something better to purge, something that's more important. Your mind. Something has to purge your mind, right? Something has to purge your mind. Mashiach is doing that thing to help to get your mind clean. But in order for that to happen, something has to happen. There has to be a matching desire for that thing. There has to be a matching desire for that thing. Let's continue. Let's take a look at Hebrews 10, 1 through 2, right? 1 and 2. Hebrews 10, 1 and 2. We'll try to go there too. I'll just go to yours. So it says, for the law having a shadow of good things to come, and not, it says, and not the very image of the things can never, without those sacrifices which they offered year by year continually, make the comers thereunto perfect. It says, for then would they not have ceased to be offered, because that the worshipers once purged should have had no more conscience of sin. So why do they still have this conscience? Why are we going through these things and we're still having these same issues? Right? Why are we still having these same issues? Because jump down to Hebrews 10, 21 to 22. We're still having these same issues, right? So it says that, and having a high priest over the house of Elohim, let us draw near with a true heart and full assurance of faith, having a heart sprinkled from an evil conscience and our bodies washed with pure water. What does that mean? So that means that in order for us to get our conscience straight, we have to believe in the Son. We have to go to him. He is the high priest. He's doing all these services for us. But it's still one thing that is important. Put in the chat for me, right? Put in the chat for me. For those people who wanted to be saved, for those people who were healed by Mashiach, right? What did they have to do? Put it. If you know, let me see a couple. Maybe I'm, just to, let me see a couple things in the chat. What did they, in order for those people in the gospel to be healed, what did they do? And what did they need for the healing? Who knows? Whoo, whoo. Bing, 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 bing. Faith, right. Belief, right. What's some more? What is a couple actions? What did that belief and that faith lead them to do? What did it lead them to do? Obey, turn away from sin, be healed, but in order for them to be healed, what did they do? They went, they journeyed, they went, and they asked for healing. They had a desire. You see, they had a desire. They wanted it in their heart. They had these issues that there you go, Kiefer. Do you wish to be made whole? You see, we talked about Genesis chapter 3, right? And we talked about the fact that it was based off our desires that we fell. It was based off of our desires that we fell. Now it's going to be the same desire that's going to save us. Think about that, y'all. Y'all understand that? He said, just drop me in through the roof. Oh, Andy better have his back brace on. But Abiyadin, it was us that caused us to fall. And it's going to be us again that's going to cause us to live. We have to have, it's something that's implanted in us that we need, because why did he choose, who knows, right? Why did he choose Abraham? Talk to me, y'all. Why was Abraham chosen? Why was Abraham chosen? Put it in the chat. I see faith in there, of course, faith. But it was something that was counted as righteousness. What was that thing that was counted as righteousness? Desire to know Elohim. Oh, there we go. Belief, obedience, faith and obedience. You see, there's going to be people that's going to believe. We can go there. We can go there. Let's keep it. Go to Genesis 4. Let's go to Genesis 4. I'll bring this back up again. Oh, you already know where I'm going. Let's go Genesis 4. You know where I'm going. There's going to be people that's going to believe, and you're going to have people that's going to run away. Right? Not that one, Keep it. Scroll down a little bit more. So he said, I'm not my brother's keeper, right? There we go. You're right there. And he says 12, right? He says, thou tillest the ground, it shall not henceforth yield unto thee her strength. Why? He says, you will forever be, from here on out, a fugitive and a vagabond. A fugitive and a vagabond. Put in the chat, y'all, what does a fugitive do? If y'all watch the movie The Marshal, what does a fugitive do? That's right. Run away. Flee. Roam. The vagabond roam. That's right. Hey, Elizabeth, that's right. Run from the law. See, people are going to run. They're going to not have the desire to, they're not going to have the desire to obey the Most High. They're going to strictly, you're going to have those that's like Abraham that's going to obey, and they're going to receive a covenant and a blessing everlasting. And then you're going to have those that has in their heart that they're going to run away. They're going to run away from the law. They don't want it. And it goes back to the worthless belief. I'm just showing you other aspects of it. You see? So when we're looking and we're dealing, that's why the heart gets corrupted. Why did he choose Pharaoh? Pharaoh already in his mind, you think he's going to give up what he got? No. He just made him double down. He believed, but even look, he even repented. He said, man, go to your Elohim and and give a little offering for me too, my family. He wanted to repent. He wanted to, but he couldn't. He couldn't. I'm gonna take us to two more places, right? Let's take a look at let me see if I can pull it up real quick. Let's see if I can pull it up. Let's take a look at Isaiah. He says, let's go to Isaiah chapter 6, right? Let's start at verse 8. It says, also I heard the voice of Yah saying, whom shall I send, unto who will go for us? Then said I, here I am. Or here am I, send me. And he said, go and tell this people, hear ye indeed, but understand not, and see ye indeed, but perceive not. He says, make the heart of this people fat, and make their ears heavy, and shut their eyes, lest they see with their eyes and hear with their ears, and understand with their heart, and convert, and be healed. It says, then said I, Master, how long? And he answered, until the cities be wasted without inhabitant, and the houses without a man, and the land be utterly desolate. And Yah have removed men far away, and there be a great forsakening in the midst of the land. Abiyah said, man, look, it got to a point with certain people that he says, I don't even want you. I don't even just make their heart heavy. I don't even want you to believe. I don't even want you to understand. That's what happened to Pharaoh. Pharaoh wanted to repent. He wanted to be on that track. He was like, nah, no. He said, nah, nope. Not at all. Right? And then one more. Here's the other growing issue here. It says, thus saith, let's go Jeremiah 17, verse 5. It says, thus saith Yah, cursed be the man that trusteth in man, and maketh flesh his arm, and whose heart departeth from Yah, for he shall be like the hart in the desert, and shall not see when good cometh, but shall inhabit the parched places in the wilderness, in a salt land, and not inhabited. He says, blessed is the man that trusteth in Yah, and whose hope is in Yah, for he shall be as a tree planted by the water, and that spreadeth out her roots by the river, and shall not see when heat cometh, but her leaf shall be green, and shall not be careful in the year of drought, neither shall cease from the yield of water, from yielding fruits. I apologize. So even in the midst of all these things, it's Abiyah that sustains, right? But in verse 9, it says, the heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Who can know it? We read that earlier, right? But it's something that's very important. He says, the heart, he says, Yah, search the heart, though. He says, trying the reins, even to give every man according to his ways and according to his fruit of his doings. As the partridge sitteth on the egg and hatcheth them not, so he that getteth riches and not by right shall leave them in the midst of his days, and at his end shall be full. You see? So the thing is that it's very important to understand your heart and your mind, because that is, as we can see thus far, Abiyah, you've seen what he's done to the hard-hearted. You see how he feels about the corrupted heart. And now we know that the Most High searches out the heart, right? He searches out the heart. How does he do it? Let's take a look. I'm going to show you one more time. He says, going back to verse 10, he said, he search out the heart, try the reins, even to give, he gives every man according to his ways and according to the fruits of his doing. So even in the secret places in your mind, in your secret place, your mind is your secret place, believe it or not. He's going to search it out. He's going to give you your heart's desire. Either you're going to be a tare, or are you going to be the wheat? At the end of the day, he's going to know. And this is the reason why he gave us, at the end of the day, this is the reason why he gave us this Numbers 15. Go to Numbers 15, 38 and 40. This will be the last thing, right? Numbers 15, right? 38 through 40. Start at 37. See, we got to wear fringes, right? We got to wear fringes. Supposed to wear fringes, right? But there are those people who spend too much time focusing on fringes and have no clue about what their daggone fringes are for. No inkling, no understanding. He says, speak unto the children of Israel and bid them that they make them fringes in the borders of their garments throughout their generation, and that they put upon the fringe of the borders a ribbon of blue. And it shall do what? It shall be unto you for a fringe, that ye may look upon it. You look upon it. And remember all the commandments of Yah and do them. And that ye seek not after your own heart, your mind, and your own eyes, after which ye used to go whoring. That ye may remember and do all my commandments and be Kodesh unto your Elohim. It's not about fashion show. It's not about to persecute anybody. It's for you. He's giving you tools to help you not become corrupted and to remind you to not be hardened. But I always knew that there was going to be a part 2 to this. So now we talked about the hardened and the corrupted part of our hearts. Next, we're going to talk about how we correct these issues, how we become pure, how we become right and how we stay there. You see? So wear your fringes, understand what your fringes are for, keep the Most High in your heart and your mind. And I pray that this blessed you all. And I'll see y'all next time. We're going to talk about how to clean up that heart, get your heart straight, what we need to do, and how we need to help others. With that being said, I return it back to you, Kiefer. Shalom. Shabbat shalom.
One of the ways that the Most High has blessed me this year is by bringing like-minded individuals into my life that I can pray, read, and fast with. I'm super grateful for all of them. Shout out to FOTW, followers of the way, Young Adult.
Blessings on blessings, yeah. We got blessings on blessings, yeah.